My father was a white soldier and my mother is Korean. I was born in America and I moved to Korea when I was 1, and we moved back to America when I was 5, and I grew up in America and came back to Korea when I was 20, and I've lived here for the entirety of my 20s. So pretty much half my life I lived in America and half my life here in Korea, with my developmental years being in America. So I have come to the conclusion that I prefer living in Korea. If you look at me, I look very Asian. Growing up, it was difficult fitting in with mainly white peers, or there was many black peers as well. But I always felt like an outsider because of my race, because of my appearance. I'm not saying that I didn't have some advantages in life. Being the son of a white officer has socioeconomic advantages, and being a man has advantages, but I do feel that I experienced marginalization because of my race in a country that is predominantly white and historically has had white power structures. It didn't really hit me how prevalent the culture of violence is in America until I came back out here. There are no guns in Korea. You don't have to worry about getting shot. There's rarely street fights or things like that. People can be aggressive, they can be yelling and things like that, but overall, people are usually very closed off and keep to themselves. I'm not saying I didn't experience harassment or um, being an outsider out here, because I grew up in America, so I was very Americanized, so I don't exactly fit in here, but I'm not really judged ever for my race. I saw that the shooter in Allen, Texas, the mall shooter yesterday, he was a white supremacist of presumably Hispanic descent, which anyone can be a racial supremacist, and right wing fascist ideology is alluring to many minorities because it can seem like you can belong to a majority power group if you show deference to them or do the things that they want you to. If you're the good minority, they will accept you. That's not the case. They may use you like an Uncle Tom, that is to say, like a puppet to prop up their interests, as well as to say, hey, look, we have a black man on our side or whatever, so we can't be racist. But as soon as you're no longer useful, they will turn against you. So here in Korea, yeah, there's wacky people everywhere, but there's no groups of white supremacists. There's no guns. I mean, I'm sure you can find the outliers somewhere. I'm sure there's, you know, some person who's fallen into a Nazi fetishization, or maybe there's illegal guns deep in like the mafioso underworld, but incredibly rare. That is incredibly rare. And the culture of criminality here in Korea is so much better than America. So I overheard someone from the States saying this yesterday. Oh, if I leave my purse here in a store, I can come back in 5 hours and it'll still be here. In America, things get stolen all the time. Those kind of things happen everywhere, but it's expected in America. If you have a bike and it's not chained up, someone's going to steal it. If you leave a wallet on a table in a restaurant, someone's going to steal it. And it's much more unsafe. Like me and my friend from college were talking, and we were talking about one time at 3 a.m. in Seattle, we found a shopping cart and we were riding a shopping cart in the middle of the street at 3 a.m. And we didn't realize we were 18 at the time, but we were talking and we were saying, wow, like that was pretty dangerous. We were out in the city at 3 a.m. and we could have been mugged or ganged up on, which in America, when I was in high school, I wrote about this in my book. I have had a knife pulled on me. I have had a gun pulled on me. A kid from my high school was shot and killed at a party. Another kid shot himself and killed himself. I think growing up, I recall since elementary school, we did active shooter drills where we would practice how to take cover if a shooter comes into school. On the doors in schools, there's a little window in our door into the classroom, and it has metal strips going through it, crisscrossing metal strips on the door. And the idea is, oh, if someone breaks that to shoot the classroom, they can't get through those metal strips to open the door. Isn't that fucked up? And since I was a kid, I saw in the news that there were shooters, and now this Allen, Texas incident, it was a Nazi, a white supremacist who slaughtered 8 people, and 3 of those people were Korean American family. He shot the mother and the father, and he shot their 3-year-old kid, and the only kid that survived was their 5-year-old. Now think about that boy. He's a Korean American boy that lost his entire family, a 5-year-old boy that lost his entire family because a insane white supremacist had access to a deadly weapon. So I do encourage people to arm themselves, especially because minorities face racial justice, but I don't want to be misconstrued that I think guns are a good thing. I think that people having access to deadly weapons is detrimental to society, and that only well trained law enforcement should have that kind of power. I think weapons should be completely banned in society. If we had proper law enforcement that people could rely on, then we wouldn't need to feel the burden to protect ourselves. I do support all gun control because we look at cowboy movies and we think, "Oh, that's the Wild West. That was so long ago." What's different now? People are getting shot every fucking day in America. We're doing shooter drills. I feel like it's worse than the Wild West days in a lot of ways because we have much better guns now. So that's why I prefer living in Korea. I don't have to worry about getting fucking shot. I really hope things change.